Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about a certain topic that keeps coming up with the people that I engage with every day who reach out to me for tips on eating and fitness and weight loss, and the people that I work with that are part of my client base and that I talk to every day. And that is cravings, food and sugar addiction, and how those things are really what seem to sabotage people's efforts to lose weight, stay on track with their health and their fitness. With the fact that there is 70% of adults that are obese and 30% of children that are obese, I feel like this is a topic that needs to be addressed because nutrition is everything. So many people think that, they just need to work out more, and where exercise plays a big part in your health and maintaining a healthy weight, it also isn't enough nowadays. So sugar addiction and food addiction, just addiction in general nowadays, seem to be just running rampant in this society. And I talked about this the other day. People actually pay for things to be addictive in their life that works against their goals. I mean, even something such as Netflix, that is very addicting. Binge watching, people brag about it, and they're paying a monthly fee to basically screw their life up if they don't have control. And in the world that we live in now, where we're overwhelmed, it is so easy to turn to things like food, alcohol, drugs, mindless, binge watching of TV to be able to just cope with it. And so I want to make sure that everybody's educated, because for years, I've heard so many people, just throw their hands up and they're like, well, I'm a chocolate addict, or, oh, I love carbs. And I've heard so many people throughout the years tell me, like, I'll never be able to get over this. I will always do that. And when you use those terms, you're basically concreting that into a permanent thing, and it's not. Nothing's permanent. You can change anything and everything about you with the right mindset. Today, when I actually made breakfast, I made myself a smoothie that is, chocolate based, and it had frozen zucchini in it. And then I also made oatmeal with peanut butter and some cinnamon. And I thought, as I was starting to eat my breakfast, I realized that all of those things I disliked for over 30 years of my life. And just in the last couple of years, I started to like it because I made myself learn to like it, because the fact that eating like that serves me better than eating like I did before. Sugar is something that is in everything, and you have to be careful. I was reading something the other day about, I'm not even sure if I'm saying the word right, the acai bowl, ACAI. I've never known how to actually pronounce that, but people, would be like, oh, I got one of these bowls because, it's healthy, da 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 da. And really, it's just loaded with sugar. Even if you're eating natural things like fruit, that also can be high in sugar. So I'm curious if you know how many pounds of sugar a person is on average consuming on a daily basis. I was shocked when I found out 152 pounds of sugar a year. It is 40 pounds over what the average was per person annually in 1980. So as you can see, the consumption of sugar because of what's in the products is just increasing. And shockingly, children are getting around 34 teaspoons of sugar a day. And as you see it, we have this epidemic of children with attention deficit disorder, or inability to focus, and a lot of it has to do with the food. And so a lot of people feel like they are a slave to their cravings. I myself was that person. If you have cravings that seem to rule your, everyday life, I'd love to hear what you crave, because a lot of people are starchy people, potatoes, pasta, breads. Other people are sweets. I myself for years was somebody who was addicted to fried food and salty foods. And so everybody's different. And I've noticed that it has changed over the years. And so for me, I want to share with people what is the cause of cravings, because I never understood until I started really digging into it, because we just feel like, oh, this is what life is, we're stuck with it, and you're not. So with cravings, it can be a combination or one of these things. It could be that you are dehydrated. So whenever I am overly hungry, I really try to make sure that did I drink enough water? I drink a 16-ounce glass of water before I eat, because that also helps me stay full. It helps me identify if my hunger is true hunger, or if it's just dehydration. If you do your research, or if you follow me long enough, you will find out all of the things that dehydration can cause. And if you don't know this, which I didn't know for a long time, you should take your current weight and divide it in half, and those are how many ounces of water you need to drink daily. So if you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces needs to be what you shoot for. For me personally, to maintain my weight or to lose weight, I really need to stay around like the 120 mark, and sometimes I drink even more than that. The more water you drink, the more you crave it. And another thing is that you can have nutrient deficiencies. And that was something that made kind of like this switch came on in my brain. I remember when I was pregnant, that was like one of those times that I just felt like I just relented to every craving and I could not control it. And that makes total sense, because here's the thing is, especially if you're not eating super healthy, your body is going to compensate, and your infant or your fetus is going to take all the nutrients from you to make sure that it's healthy and thriving. So that could cause you to be nutrient deficient. And nowadays people's diets aren't. It is highly loaded with preservatives, with sugar, with carbs, and people aren't really, I hear so many people say like, oh, I need more protein. Usually you're fine with protein. It's usually a nutrient deficiency. But hormone imbalances and sugar addiction is really a huge culprit behind the cravings. So I don't know if you know this, but I have learned through research that food is actually been produced, created, and designed to be addictive. There is not only an emotional response, but a lot of times people do have, a deficiency in leptin or serotonin, which can cause this. But when you are eating these foods that are made to be addictive, then this creates this dopamine response. And that's no different than, cocaine or something that creates that euphoric feeling, and you want more of it, and it creates this physiological response. And so people don't even realize that they're addicted, but they are. And so it's so important that you're paying attention to what you're eating. I was actually looking at 2 products the other day for my son, and I thought it was funny. There was Rice Krispie treats that were $1.99, and the nutrient label was just crazy. You couldn't pronounce half the things, and there was artificial ingredients, soy, all these different things. And then I found some organic Rice Krispie treats, and it was with brown rice and all these different things in it. And they didn't have all of the artificial ingredients, and it had a lower sugar. So I try to make sure that I'm making conscious decisions, especially for my children, because I work with adults, and when we start looking into their history and where their struggle lies, it usually started with, when they were children. And so I find it very important to educate other parents as well, to make sure that they're making these decisions that, their kids can't make because they're not well informed. Because I hear a lot of parents who say, oh, I don't worry about it, they're kids. And because they associate food with weight loss instead of health, or really focusing on creating those healthy habits so that they live a healthy, life later on. So I wanted to just share that it's really important to look at the ingredients in your food, to really look at the contents of the sugar, in each food, whether it's natural or, it's something that you purchase in the store that's not in the produce section. But it's not always so simple as calories in, calories out to lose weight or to maintain it. It's really about focusing on nutrients, really focusing on eating whole foods, because the foods on the market are there designed to make you addicted to it, to produce this euphoric feeling, so you keep coming back. There's a reason why when you eat a potato chip, you're very likely to eat half a bag. There is a reason that once you've been eating healthy and then you decide to have that soda for one day, and day 2, then you can easily fall back into it because it's addictive. And I know that because I've fallen into that habit myself. So I wanted to just remind you that you're not a slave to your cravings, that really with your, the education and then changing things about your daily diet and your habits can really make this easier, so that you can make progress towards reaching your goals and not feel like you're a slave to food.